It's your brother Tavon Swainell, aka the Orthodox Moor. And real quick, I want to address a situation that's popping off right now with a couple of brothers in the UK, Speaker's Corner, etc. With a bunch of heads up there, and you know what? It's even something that's happening in America right now. So unfortunately, I just had a very unfortunate conversation with the good brother Raspect, who I've been with many times on many topics for quite some time now. And unfortunately, I feel like I'm going to have to step back from the brother for just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like he is particularly emotional about the topic, and understandably so. But emotional to the point where I can't have a logical conversation with him. And so I'm going to take a step back until I see logic start to prevail. Before I step back, I'm going to advise my brother, as I've advised him before. So right now, there's a lot, like y'all see the title, y'all see what it is. This is about Raspect and Garvey, etc., right? And a lot of stuff, a lot of conversations that have happened in the past few days and whatnot. I've been on a panel for a lot of them. I've been on a panel for all of them. But I've been watching this stuff pop off for a long time. Brother Moore's been around, ironically, from America in the UK scene since 2017. Defending my brothers at the park, against my own Muslim brothers, who were coming at my people in a very racist way. So, as a Muslim of African descent, I try to bridge the gap on a lot of things. Try to build bridges of peace wherever I could. Try to call out my Muslim brothers with logic, and with information whenever they were incorrect. Even to the points where I was making videos, defending Raspect and whatnot. Like I was defending Gav, Sarah, Jedi. Whenever people were coming at him wrong, Maku, you know what I'm saying? When people were coming at him wrong, crazy and whatnot, over the concepts on ideology, over them doing the G circle, etc. When Shamsi came at Raspect for being a Rasta, man, I made a video talking about how it's not cool to do that, because if you actually really look at what Raspect's talking about, he's either an Israelite or a Sabian via the scrolls. And so as people of the book, we can't really do takfir on Rastas and whatnot, unless they talk. Now, like if he said something about like a man is God, or like Haile Selassie is the Most High God, yeah, takfir him all day in terms of not being a not believer, but that wasn't the case, right? So I made videos defending my brother on that. When Abdul Hamid came up to Raspect in Jedi, and they was just leaning up against the fence when I at the park and when I just chilling, and Abdul Hamid came through and started giving them shit about them smoking weed, or having been high, or having smoked weed. Like they were smoking weed there, right? They were smoking weed there. At one point, Raspect did blaze up, I believe, but at the time they were just talking, and my man Abdul Hamid had like made some kind of passive talking kind of stuff about the fact that, oh, you must be high, stoned out of your mind right now because you're not making sense. And then it turned into a whole big ordeal. And so I went back and I made a video breaking down how he was incorrect for doing that via Islam, with sources and all that. Like, so I was doing that to the point to where I got 3 channels shut down. SLM TV, Moorish Dawa, and my original The Orthodox Moor channel. I got my channel shut down by the Muslims up at the park. People like Ali Dawa and Muhammad Hijab. Matter of fact, my last channel that they shut down, The Orthodox Moor, they shut it down. I had made a video similar to what I'm about to tell you now, Raspect, and similar to what I just told you on your panel. Matter of fact, the video I made on my The Orthodox Moor channel was a video backing Tommy Robinson for one thing. As a Muslim, I am obligated via the Quran to stand for justice, even against myself and my family. And if I don't, Allah sees it and is ever knowing about that. So I'm obligated to stand for justice. And it tells me if someone's doing harm on my people, if they're speaking harm on my people, they're calling for harm, or they're doing physical harm, I'm supposed to separate. So I made this video on my original Orthodox Moor channel where I backed Tommy Robinson's ability to critique Islam up until the point of calling for violence. As a Muslim, I'm called to do so. Not doing so is injustice. And I'm called to stand for justice, even against myself. So as I told you on your panel, I'm called to stand for justice, even against myself when it concerns Sarah. So I'm on your panel backing Sarah's ability to critique Islam in the Abrahamic traditions and to make his own belief structure where it doesn't have anything to do with the Abrahamic traditions, and to make his own group where it has nothing to do with the Abrahamic traditions. The Quran tells me the Quran stipulates, unto your way, unto me my way. So I can't force him to believe my way. It also stipulates that if I'm quarreling with my brother to stop talking about the topic that we're quarreling about until my brother changes the hadith or the narration or the speech or the statement that he's talking about. So basically try to just stay on the topics you can agree on. And if you can't agree, learn to peacefully just bow out of that. Now I'm rocking with you, Raspect. I rock with you all day in terms of being hot under the collar about my man using the name Garvey. Again, Garvey is a prophet in my tradition. In my scrolls, in my religious scrolls, Garvey is a prophet. I come from the only Muslim sect in the world that says that. So when you're beefing on the whole like Pan-African thing, I got you, bro. The Garveyism thing, I got you, bro. Sarah's ideology is completely antithetical to Marcus Garvey, 100%. And him using the name Garvey is taking a piss on his name, 100%. I don't disagree with that. I agree with that entirely. Entirely. But let me also tell you this. I've sat down and had this conversation with Sarah myself on air with Brother Rich on Black Eyes TV 7 in July of 2018. I just aired it on my channel. Y'all should go check it out again. I'm trying to talk to my brother based upon the merits of his ideas, right? And at the time, we were supposed to have a couple of conversations that he was trying to avoid then. So I didn't even get to I didn't get to fully address what I wanted to. But you got to see a compare and contrast of ideas, information. I advised you that you should make your compare and contrast about ideology and not about individuals, because you're going to unintentionally make it about a cult of personality versus ideology. And the issue with that is that you make Sarah popular for what he's talking about, and then you make what he's talking about popular, versus just smashing the ideology so anybody talking about it looks foolish. One more time, you will make Sarah popular, look popular as an individual, make him popular as an individual. Then you'll make what he's talking about popular as an individual, or popular for other individuals. You'll make him popular, then what he's talking about popular. Instead of attacking the ideology and making it where anybody talking about it looks foolish. And I even gave you a situation where I did that in America, when I was working on that in America. And right afterwards, you told me, oh, it's impossible. Like, how is it impossible when I just told you I did it? And I gave you the format, now I did it. And I'm telling you, that's what I'm doing with Sarah right now. You put the clean glass of water next to the dirty glass of water, and you let the thirsty man choose which one he want to drink from. That's free will. That's what the Most High says to do. You can't do nothing else beyond that. And here's the danger in not doing that. When you make it a cult of personality, there's unintended consequences that are very negative from that if you don't watch out. Because on your panel, you're making my man sound like he's a threat to the people. Like if he ever got to power, he might be able to call for what's going on to the Chinese Muslims and whatnot, right? I.e., de facto, you're making him sound like he's like a black Hitler or a black Stalin or something like that. You're making him sound like he's a black Hitler or a black Stalin. So I came at you and I told you, if you're that afraid of him, why don't you just take him out? Why don't you just kill the man? Is what I told you. If he's a, I said you're making him sound like he's a threat to the community. If he's a threat like that, why don't you just kill the man? But I said, but he's not a threat like that. He's just talking. And then I told you what I said about what the Quran tells me to call, what it calls me to stand for justice. He's not calling to harm anybody. He's not calling to harm anybody. He's saying he's going to take people who believe like him and go over there with that. That's literally what the Quran tells us to do. That's what the Torah tells us to do. That's what the Gospels tell us to do. To separate from those we consider to be wicked. He considers Abrahamic traditions to be wicked. For his own reasons. For his own reasons. And when you get into his history, for instance, of being a Seventh-day Adventist and all that type of stuff, him being at a conference to where some preacher man told him, hey man, there's this whole curse of Ham thing and whatnot. And he's sitting there just going over this concept of black people being cursed and people believing this religious thing and whatnot. And he's like, nah, I can't even rock with that. Like, I don't blame my dude for walking away from an Abrahamic tradition off that. Is it fair to paint all Abrahamic traditions as the same off that? No, it's not fair. But as someone who follows an Abrahamic tradition, it's my obligation to engage him on the intellectual arguments that he was engaging when he was dealing with that pastor at that conference. It's not an emotional thing. That's an intellectual argument that he made within himself. Like, you know what? That doesn't make sense to me. Intellectually, he worked out that will be emotionally damaging for him. I respect that about Sarah. Again, his level of critique is necessary. It's a good thing for our community. Do I agree with it? No. In no way, shape, or form do I agree with it. But at the same point in time, if you're a sincere individual, it'll make you more sincere. I said this on Sister 980 show, right? I said that take for instance Somali Ahmed, right? The Somali Maverick, right? My man was a Sunni, spitting the hadith, you know what I'm saying? And then he ran into Sarah. And then Sarah caught him up on the hadith. And my man didn't leave Islam. My man got more sincere about Islam, about his Islam. He just became a Quranist about that. He became more sincere because of his interaction with Sarah. Like Sarah's critique has a benefit for those who are sincere. For those who are insincere, it'll make them go crazy all day long. And I also think that's a benefit because I don't dig insincere people. I don't dig insincere people. Now, here's the truth. Now, you and I both agree Sarah is insincere. You and I both believe that. Now, here's the truth. And this is why I'm saying don't make it a thing about personality, cult of personality or individuals. If we come at him for being insincere, it becomes a personal thing. But if we come at his ideology, it's not a personal thing. He can always deflect your personal attacks. He can't deflect an intellectual argument. I can tell you that from having debated him personally on live air. Sarah don't like dealing with me. I keep calling him for a conversation on this intellectually and honestly, because I'm going to have it without a large amount of emotion and whatnot. That's dangerous for for how he presents things, because he likes to be able to turn things on you for being emotional and unintelligent and all that kind of stuff, right? So if you come at him even kill, it's a hard argument for him. For instance, you're not going to see him debate Bob the Builder too much. He had one conversation with Bob, one or two, right? And Bob put some hands on him. It was hilarious. Because your man want to start talking about what Christianity is a white man's religion, this and the third, and Bob started throwing Ethiopian Christianity on him. He was like, oh, damn. Lo and behold, he don't want to talk to Bob no more. You meant like, so you're making a mountain out of a molehill, and that's what I'm trying to say, bro. And I'm giving you the same advice I gave you in two different situations, and I'm giving you I'm going to repeat a third bit of advice I gave you, right? So I told you with Sia, for instance, before everything got popping off with her and she started making all them videos about y'all. I told you in the back chat, I said, hey man, we were talking with Abdullah, we was talking with Raza, we was talking with Jaleka, we was talking with Mohib, we was talking with all them man about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it was. I don't gotta get into it. But I told y'all on that call y'all had when everybody was going crazy and y'all figured out what was going on. I was like, hey, leave it with her. Allow it. You're going to be the air she breathes. Don't do that. If you ignore her, she'll go away. But if you don't ignore her, she's going to use what you're saying to build off of. And she went from having a couple hundred subscribers to having over 1,000 subscribers, I think, on a couple other channels, right? You made Sia popular. I told you beforehand it was exactly what was going to happen, and it happened exactly as I told you. And I told you that from my personal experience with her that you didn't have. So I'm telling you from my personal experience with Sauron, that's documented. That's documented. And again, here's where we all share the same experience. We've all been attacked by the same Fallacy men, all right? From the same part, all right? I'm an American, I've been attacked by them. Like I said, I got 3 channels shut down by them defending y'all from here. Defending y'all from here. Again, I'm the dude that Muhammad Tawhid said is too black to be a Muslim. That was how I came on the scene with SLM TV and whatnot. With Kalam telling y'all to go check out my channel and subscribe, and all y'all did and whatnot. Y'all saw me going in, and Ali Dawa and Muhammad Hijab and Hamza and all that. All that. But so here's my thing though. I gotta stand for justice, period. That's got nothing to do with any one of y'all. So if any one of my people are doing injustice, I gotta call it out too. And so here's what I'm saying. Here's an injustice that you don't recognize that you're doing that I gotta call you out for, Brother Raspect. When you speak about Sauron as if he's some important figure that he's not, you're elevating him to some status, right? You're making him important. You're talking about him as if he has the ability to become some threat that he's not. Like I said, when I confronted you on your show, you were making him sound like, you didn't say these words, but you were making it sound like the boy was Hitler or Stalin. And if he had the ability to get into power, he was going to be like them cats. And you were referencing what was going on in China right now. So one of the biggest critiques on you is that you don't deal with just your community. You have a mixed community. So for instance, you deal with a lot of Asian people, right? That many of them come from different ideological backgrounds. Some of them come from some extreme backgrounds. Some of them have been mentioned already. Anyway, those extreme people have already put physical threats on Sauron's life before. Physical threats on Sauron's life. So when you, as another person of African descent, are talking about the man as if he is a threat to our community, to the level of some like Hitler, Stalin, or whatever's going on in China right now, you're also giving them cover, whether you understand it or not, like it or not, or want to believe it or not. You're giving them cover to go do certain things to that man, to Sauron, because you're now deeming him a threat as well. And whether you mean it or not, that's the unintended implication, unintended consequence of what you're saying right now. That's why I advised you as a brother, just deal with the information and the ideology, not the individual. And like I said, go run back the video, bro. And when I told you that, you said, "Oh, that's impossible." And I had just given you the example of what I did in America, dealing with the same people who are burning books and saying the same thing. And you try to be like, "Well, who else is doing X, Y, and Z?" And I gave you actual physical evidence thereof of exactly what you're talking about, and me dealing with them people and how I dealt with them. Again, look at the Sia situation, right? How many videos has she made about Brother Moore? Absolutely none. Why is that? Because I don't talk about C, like I told you not to. Brother Moore might know something about something. I don't know everything, but I might know something about something. So I'm saying, I told you on your show, brother man, that you might be a little bit too much in your feelings to understand what I'm saying. So therefore, I'm advising you to take a step back, like everyone else is telling you. Now I want to be real about it, right? Now here's why I'm giving you the third piece of advice that I gave you before. If you go back on your channel to like September to November 2017, there's a video of Road to Jannah coming on your channel, right? You got a video about Road to Jannah, right? To where he was feeling some kind of way and pulled in between being a Muslim and then going to the G circle, etc. and whatnot. And it's you, him, and Jedi on the thing, right? Then I jump on, right? And when I jump on, I advise you, I'm like, hey man, what I think you should do is I think you should take a portion of the G circle. I said just a portion of it, and speak about the positive influences that that African peoples have had in the different religions that people practice there. And even if they're atheist, talk about that as well, because you can link that back to a Kemetic stream of thought or a convert, like etc. That's a long story, but you can do so. You can link a certain kind of atheistic thought back to Kemet. So on the whole concept of what Garvey brought, which was one God, one aim, one destiny, and when you really get into his literature, and again, he's a prophet of mine, so I do such. He speaks about worshiping the God of Ethiopia, taking everything back that way, right? So even if atheism is what you deal with, take it back to Ethiopia, so to speak, right? Which we can do, right? So if that is your God, like you said, your man's dealing with the concept of God. If that is his God, there's a way to make it work. There's a way to have that conversation intellectually. There really is a way to have that conversation intellectually. So I advise that you take a section of the G circle, like I said, and talk about the African contributions to the different philosophies and religions that we practice, right? And I even said then, including atheism, just to be specific, right? You were for it, but doing it later, and Jedi was completely against it. But you were definitely for it, Raspect. You were for it. And I'm calling you to do that again. I'm calling you to make a Garvey circle, right? Because if you're really worried about my man misusing and misappropriating the Garvey name, go show people what it really is. Go build amongst the different African peoples in different ways. Go bring them together amongst the Abrahamic traditions together, like of African peoples and whatnot. You have African Christians, African Muslims, etc. at the park. Rastas, etc. All that, bro. You have Israelites, you know what I'm saying? That you can link with, do something with. Show them what one God, one aim, one destiny looks like. Link with Rap Raven. Get a proper business plan together. You know what I'm saying? Link with other people and whatnot. The G circle was on point, bro. If y'all just took that one step further and actually started building something, it would have been on point. So I'm saying build something based upon Garveyism. The thing about the G circle is you couldn't really agree on one set ideology, right? So now everything's split up. Cool. You're saying Garveyism. Cool. Build on it. Show people what it looks like. And if you want to debate Sarah on the merits of the intellectual arguments he got to make, do so. That's what I'm going to do. And if he runs from the debates, it makes him look a certain kind of way. Not you or not me. And if he engages in the debates, you're gonna get money out, like for real. Like, and here's what I'm saying: you already won the intellectual argument with him when you were on stage with him, right? And you went round and round with him, bro. You won the intellectual argument. He can't beat what you just said. The vast majority of people who hear what you say and dealing with the intellectual argument agree with what you're saying. Even the atheists agree with what you're saying. Even the atheists are agreeing with what you're saying. To an extent. But when you take it to the point where it's like, well, he can't say certain things. Okay, Now you're taking away man's free will. Even God don't do that. Even God don't do that in the Abrahamic traditions. From the Torah to the Gospel to the Quran, he don't do that. To the Kemet and the NEGUS, to anything you want to look at, bro. To the Circle 7 Quran, he don't do that, bro. He don't do that. So real quick, I'm going to play a video from January of 2018, which is a few months after we had our conversation, where Road to Jannah was on the video and whatnot. I believe he's in the title of the video. If you took it down, you got it, bro. Go look at it. Go review it. I beg you, please go look at it. But in January of 2018, I go on Kalam's show. I go on Titans TV. I arrange with him to talk about the same thing that I talked to you about. And he was actually going to try to bring it to y'all. But guess what popped off? The Tommy Robinson thing popped off. And everything went haywire after that. All sides went every which direction. So, unfortunately, it didn't get to happen. But now I'm asking, just take a look at this, think about it, give it some time, and tell me that building on Garveyism is not a better idea. Building on Garveyism and building on the ideology is not a better idea than trying to debate somebody as an individual and making things a cult of personality. But with that, I'm just gonna play this right quick and call this good.
Doing the knowledge. Listen. We're here, we're just trying to make knowledge cool again. We're trying to make knowledge cool again. That's what we're trying to do for you guys, making knowledge cool again. All right, let's get into this. So, family, is there anybody else wanting to touch on, Pan-Africanism, that type of movement in relationship to Kemet, and how the different religions, Moorish, Dawa, how these different religions can come together and what we can do this Sunday, at Speaker's Corner to actually bring about this unity?
Yes, sir. Anybody? So I was talking to a brother earlier, and I was also talking to Brother Raspect and Jedi a long time ago about the concept of taking a portion of the G circle and using it for a Pan-African religious concept, meaning that recognizing that we in the diaspora are experiencing these religions that we know from a colonialist mindset more often than not, right? And that when we come together and try to unify, a lot of times we still can't even completely come together because we're still being separated by these colonialist mindsets within the religions that we practice, right? So I suggested to the brothers that we talk about when people come together, that we also talk about how we can find our identities and our contributions in these religions, so that when we do what Malcolm X talked about, leave our religions at the door when we come together, that when we leave the conversation and pick our religions back up at the door, that we are finding we're not practicing a religion that divides us again. We're practicing in such a way that it's also bringing us back together when we leave. You feel me?
Well said. All right. So hopefully this Sunday we can actually, institute this idea that you have and see what we can actually bring about. Because of course we've got a lot of people from our religious communities that are into this type of information. And let's see how we can actually come together and bring about a change. So let me see. Since we want to speak about what's it called? Just let me just make sure that yo, Ricky, I've sent you your link several times via your email. I've also sent it again via email just now. But unfortunately, it seems that the panel might be filled. Okay, it might be filled, so you might not receive it. Or you might not be able to come in. But let me just quickly get a few of your questions or comments out. Callum, can you tell us what your views are on non-blacks? Are they equal, inferior, or superior? And what are you doing for the African people or black people in general? This is from Ismail ibn Khalil. Okay, real quickly, can you tell us your views on non-blacks? Are they equal, inferior, or superior? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. I actually do that on a person by person basis. But just to give you a simple answer, we have a teaching in Kemet of the 4 goods that Ra created. Okay, the 4 goods that Ra created. The 4 goods that Ra created was that all men are created equally. All men are created equally. So that is going to be my go-to answer, and let you know that all men are created equally. But unfortunately, not all men are equal. What do you mean by this, Callum? Are you a racist then? No, it means that some men, okay, choose to lower themselves into the most demeaning ways. They choose to become slaves. When I'm saying slaves, I'm saying they become slaves to their passions, to their desires, and to the worst attributes or characteristics that a human being can actually hold. Okay, and those individuals are not equal to me. So no, they're not equal in that respect. And there are some individuals that actually surpass what it is to be a human. They actually borderline onto the what we would consider to be divine. They border that in terms of their characteristics, their piousness, the way that they treat their fellow human beings. And those individuals, I will regard and raise them as high as possible. And then there's other people, just on my normal day-to-day life, I will say, you are equal to me. When I view everybody as equal to me, but I judge them based upon the content of their character. And some men, their characters are very lowly, so I will judge them as lowly individuals. Some individuals are very spiritual, or I shouldn't use the word spiritual, but they're very divine in their nature. They're very positive. They're very influential. They're very illuminating, and I will judge them as being high. So hopefully that answers that question. And what are you doing for the African people? Right now, we're doing a lot for the African people by actually having and opening up these discussions or these dialogues. Right now, we're actually affecting the minds of hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. You know, so this is constantly happening right now, and that's just to name one thing. All right, so hopefully that's answered your question. Let's just quickly get through. Yeah, why do they need to come together? You guys at Speakers Corner just full of egos. Shooting down someone's belief is dangerous. You crush the fabrics that hold them. What do you replace it? Okay, I don't know if anybody wants to break this down. Gabs, this might be you. It says here, why do we need to come together? You guys at Speakers Corner are full of ego. Shooting down someone's belief is dangerous. You crush the fabrics that hold them. What do you replace it with, basically?
Okay. So we're full of egos down at Speakers Corner. We question it. Okay. And it's funny. Do you know why? It's actually really funny because, you know, we did that show, last week. Just a Sunday gone on at Speakers Corner. We spoke about egos as well. And it's funny that, you know, when we were talking about egos, the more egos that we find out in Speakers Corner is coming from the religious folks. Because to what the brother's just saying, you have Muslims and Christians debating each other weekly about whose God is this? Is Jesus 3 parts in one? Is the Holy Trinity true? Your Bible's corrupt. No, my God's better. Your God's better. And they're shooting down and crushing down the opposing person's belief systems, yeah, on a weekly, yearly, monthly basis. But yeah, when you have brothers like us coming down, you know, coming to share some of the information and stuff, and already pointed out in this session today, saying that it doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Jew, atheist, or just don't believe in anything. You can all get down with the Kemet philosophy. There's no problem. So for that question alone that he's even asking, to me, it didn't make no sense. Do you know what I mean? It's a double standards, and this is what I'm talking about. We didn't say that we're trying to take someone's religion away from them and we want to give them, supplement them with something else. All we say is that if you're going to be giving out information and you're going to want us to come to your religion, make sure that the information that you're giving us is true, is sincere, yeah, and you educate us the same way we might want to ask some questions. That's all. Do you know what I mean? We deal with knowledge, truth, and balancement. That's all. You see what I'm saying? The moment you start adding in fear, and things that we can't prove. Yeah, things that we can't prove or show. Then we have to ask the questions. You see what I'm saying? So that's all it is. We're not trying to take ownership from no one. We're not trying to crush no one's spirits or dampen anyone's spirit. Yeah, we're just here to share our information. And if you share information with us that we feel is not right, we're going to ask questions. Simple. That's it.
That's right. That's right. More doubt. Go ahead, King.
Yeah. So the brother touches on an interesting point, though. Like, so we were talking about this earlier, Kalam, in the sense that, so, you know, at Speaker's Corner, when people started talking about this ego thing, right, and the ego comes up, a lot of times it's because we as African descent people, we're attaching to these religions and getting a sense of culture from them, because in the diaspora, we've been separated. A lot of us have been separated from our culture and whatnot. So when we come together and we start talking, like look when what was it, Hebrew Kelly and Zachariah was talking, right? Now you got two African descent brothers, right? And two people from the Caribbean at that, right? Who can't have a peaceful conversation about religion and just talk about. You can disagree peacefully, right? But they're disagreeing so hard because they both attach the sense of identity to it, right? And so when you get to the truth and information of the system, right, and trying to have an intellectual conversation, people can't go there with you because you're to them you're attacking my identity and my world's crumbling around me if you challenge that, right? When in reality you should be, if what you have is the truth, you should be so calm about it. You know what I'm saying? That when someone's challenging it, you can just patiently wait until they're done spitting their knot and you can just correct the truth, right? But for the mere fact that people are reacting so hard, right, is why we need a circle in the way that we do, or a portion of the G circle devoted to this kind of conversation, so we can sit back and go through all these little idiosyncrasies that are dividing us through these concepts of religion, right? Because again, when you go back to Kemet, they all go back to Kemet. Real talk. You can't find, if you want to talk about any Abrahamic tradition, right? I don't care which one it is, and I'm putting the challenge out right now, respectfully to anyone. I'm not trying to dispute, but it's a respectful challenge, right? If you think that your religion is not connected to Kemet, prove it, because I can emphatically prove otherwise, and I can prove that the mystery systems that you teach in your religion go back to Kemet, right? In your literature, in our literature, yeah. So the truth is, like, instead of talking about like how we're divided, we should come. There's no reason why we as African descent people in the diaspora should ever be having a conversation as to why we need to stay divided. Every conversation we need to be having in public should be why do we need to be unified? You feel me?
That's right. All right. Hold on 1 second, Ziriab. 1 second. I want to close down this show. Okay. I want to close down this show and then start a new show. We're going to do it all right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So again, my advice then is my advice now. Don't attach yourself to your tradition, Raspect, as an Abrahamic believer, as your identity. Me being a Muslim is not my identity. It is my religion. You being a Rasta is not your identity. That's your religion, brother. Either Sarah is our brother or he's not. We're part of a dysfunctional family in this diaspora, bro. Like I was talking about. We're part of a group of people that are on the other side of slavery, still trying to figure out who the hell they are. In the UK, in America, in the Caribbean, etc. So if he's our brother in a dysfunctional family, we owe each other a slow conversation without the emotion in it. And without me being so offended at someone critiquing or attacking my ideology that I end up attacking them as an individual in some way, shape, or form. And that's, I'm going to leave my advice right there. I love you as a brother, Raspect. I'm going to take a quick step back for a little bit until I see some cooler heads prevail. But I have a lot of appreciation and respect and love for you, brother. I understand we couldn't get on the same page today. I'm not even shipping on it. We will get on the same page in the future. In the Most High's time. When the emotions get out of it. Because I believe that very intently that it won't be too long before you get out of your emotions on this. But with that, I'm saying I love all my brothers in this dysfunctional family. And I'm saying peace and love.